Welcome to This Week in Morgan County. I'm your host, Russell Mokhiber. Our guest this week is Scott Fortney. He's the superintendent at Cacapon State Park and Berkeley Springs State Park here in Berkeley Springs, West Virginia. Scott, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
All right, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where were you born and raised? What was the work of your folks? And where'd you go to school?
I grew up in Hurricane, West Virginia. When I graduated high school, I went to WVU and majored in Park and Rec Administration. But I got a start in parks long before that. My dad, when he left parks and went to WVU, left as deputy chief of state parks. So I'm referred to as a park brat. So I grew up in the park system. It's, been the love of mine since I was a kid. After I graduated WVU, my dad was actually still in the park system, so I went to Georgia State Parks and started. And then after my dad left parks, I came back, started as superintendent of North Bend Rail Trail. From there, I went and I was assistant at Lost River. From there, I went to Panther State Forest, was superintendent, assistant at Blackwater Falls.
Nice.
From there, I went to Cass as superintendent. And the one place that my wife and I agreed upon, if we could ever get there, was Cacapon. So when I was at Cass, Cacapon opened up, and so here we are.
Cass is the one with the railroad, right?
Correct.
And it's a coal-fired railroad, and it spews black smoke. Still?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so did you ever run that railroad?
Yeah, I was superintendent, so I ran the town and the railroad. And I became a certified brakeman and fireman, and actually fired an engine all the way to the top of Bald Knob.
And
two tons of coal.
So there's 2 tons of coal. You're shoveling it into the furnace.
Yeah.
And
the boiler.
And it moves the train.
Correct. But you also have to keep the water level. Correct.
How many state parks are there in West Virginia?
Currently, there are 49 areas that we manage.
And what's special about Cacapon?
It's just the area. I mean, it's the people, it's the area, it's the location. When we were at Lost River, we fell in love with the Eastern Panhandle. It's just, I can't describe it. It just feels like home.
Is Cacapon more well known to people around West Virginia than people around here? Because I heard you say something like that.
Well, actually, it's interesting because you actually have a break. Once you get past Blackwater, it almost becomes a different area, not only because of the topography, but because of the people. Heavy influence from D.C. and Baltimore. 85% of our visitation comes from out of state. D.C.,
Baltimore, Pittsburgh, the cities surrounding it.
Right. Right. So it has a different flair to it.
And what's the attraction for people? Why do people come to it?
I just think it's just a great place to bring your family, a great place to relax. It's just, you're an hour and a half from the D.C. Zoo. From downtown. And you can literally step into nature.
Yeah.
But still have, modern conveniences.
Big changes coming. Tell us about them and what's happening there.
At Cacapon, they broke ground, and we are going to get a 78-room lodge with an indoor pool, indoor-outdoor dining, a fitness center, a lounge, and a spa.
And what's available at the lodge now? How many rooms are there now?
It's a 48-room lodge. It was built in the 50s, and its sister lodge is Blackwater Falls. So those two are alike. Right now, currently, it needs updated. But the plan is that in December of 2019, the new lodge will open up. We will move into that, and then they'll take the old lodge and they'll actually remodel it.
We'll close down the old lodge for remodeling?
Correct.
And how long will that take?
It will be open October of 2020. But in remodeling, they're not taking away the character. We're going to keep that 50s, that retro flair.
And what's the new lodge going to look like?
The new lodge is very similar to Stonewall Jackson State Park, same architect. It has that same flair. The emphasis will, again, be overlooking the golf course. You have a nice big patio that spills out, and then a terrace that goes down, and there'll be a nice big outdoor fire pit for people to enjoy.
What does it mean for jobs for people around here? How many more jobs are you going to be hiring?
I can't say for sure, but it will be more jobs. I mean, when we'll be going from 48 rooms to 124 rooms, plus all the other services, including the spa. We're going to be looking to hire quite a few people.
And you're also the super at Berkeley Springs State Park in downtown.
Correct.
What's going on with Berkeley Springs State Park? What can you tell us? Why would people come to Berkeley Springs State Park?
Well, Berkeley Springs was the first spa in the United States. We even have George Washington's bathtub. But the draw there is there's 7 springs that produce what they consider warm. They're considered warm springs, which the water is 74.3 degrees. And those 7 springs produce over 2,000 gallons per minute. So when you go there, you can do a Roman bath or a jacuzzi in the mineral water that's heated to 104 degrees, or you can get a massage. We got a gift shop, everything to hot stone treatments, couples massages. During the summer, we have an outdoor pool.
And do you find that when people come to the area, they go to both?
Yes. A lot of people, we have packages between the parks. We're looking to expand that service. But a lot of people will stay at the park and they'll come into town, get a massage, and then they'll enjoy downtown.
Let's go through some of the things that people can do at Cacapon and give us your insights. You like to fish yourself.
Correct.
What's the story on fishing at the state park, and what does a person need to do to be able to fish at the state park?
Well, we have 2 reservoirs that are open to the public. Both are stocked with trout yearly. They do receive a fall stocking. In fact, we just had a guy the other day catch a 22-inch golden rainbow at the upper reservoir. So,
how often are they stocked?
They're stocked January through May.
Every week? Is that they stocked?
It's every other week. I think it's a bi-weekly stocking, and then we get 1 stocking in the fall with brooder trout, the large brooder trout. So, but you've also got other game fish. We stock catfish. You have a smallmouth bass, that type.
What about hunting?
Hunting, both parks are part of our mission is to preserve and protect, so they're not regularly open during hunting season. We do have managed controlled hunts that are by a lottery system.
And you had one recently?
Yes, we actually had 2. We had a bow and a muzzleload.
And how many deer were taken during that?
A total of 36.
Right. So there is periodic hunting.
Within limits.
And you also have, I'm going to jump around here a little bit, you also have lodging other than the lodge. So you have these cabins and you have the big cabins. So tell us about the cabins and the big cabins.
Yeah, we have 31 cabins. We have 3 styles. One would be what we call our legacy, which were built by the CCC. We also have our classics vacation, which are the more modern cabins. And then we have our economies, which are the almost like a little tiny home. So you have 31 together cabins. 13 are open year round. The rest are from April through October. We also have the Old Inn. The Old Inn is a CC style lodge. It'll sleep 32. It was the first lodge in the park system. And we just put, a year and a half ago, put $500,000 in, And so it was remodeled and it's open year round.
And people use that for family reunions, weddings. What is it?
Everything, family reunions, weddings, golf groups, it sits right there on the golf course. It's just a great place. And it now has, a gourmet kitchen, huge dining room, and then, like I said, there's 12 rooms.
You've said a couple times now, CCC, that stands for Civilian Conservation Corps. Tell us, how the park came about through that program.
Well, I mean, national parks and state parks basically can directly relate or derive their start from the Civilian Conservation Corps, which was started in the Depression as a way to get people back to work. They went in, they built roads, they built cabins, they built picnic shelters, you name it, and that was basically the start of the park system. And
one of the other things is the golf course at the park. Mm-hmm. What is the draw of the car? Is that central to the park, the golf course?
Golf course is a major draw. It's a Robert Trent Jones 18-hole golf course. And to hear most people that play it, it's just unique, the way it's laid out in the valley and the design.
Biking, what's available for biking?
Biking, that's a relatively new thing that we've emphasized on. We started, before that, we started a cross-country trail, and that was built by volunteers.
Is that for bikes or for walking and running?
That's for running. It's a 5K cross-country course.
Okay.
I was approached by a local community, and they said we'd like to, put a cross-country course in here, a true cross-country course for the high school, middle school to use. So with volunteers, they put about $25,000 in money and donations. That doesn't include the man hours, and built the 3.1 mile track. In doing so, we had another group, mountain bike group, that approached and said, hey, we're doing this, you're doing this, can we do this also? And so that has taken off. So we have a core of about 14 volunteers that have created about 10 miles of mountain bike trails.
And is that including up to the top of the mountain?
Yes.
And riding along the mountain?
Riding along, yes. Basically, the hub of the mountain bike trails is at the bat shelter as you're going up towards the overlook. We've created that as our hub, and then it spirals out or spokes out from there. And the goal is to have about 25 miles of trails when we're done with the mountain bike.
Does it cost to bike?
No.
It doesn't.
No.
What do you charge for? I mean, the golf course charges, the lodge charges, lodging charges.
Yeah.
But do you charge for swimming?
Yes.
Okay, tell us about swimming. What's available for swimming?
Swimming, we have a beach, and that's open Memorial Day to Labor Day. It's $4 for kids, $5 for adults. It's like being on the ocean. It's a beach in the middle of the woods.
It's gorgeous. We stick the kids there. It's spectacular.
And also in that we also have boating, which is you have paddle boats, kayaks, stand-up boards, paddle boarding. I think that's what it's called.
And people fish in that lake too?
Correct. They fish in both.
Because it's stocked there.
Right.
And you need a license to fish?
Correct. Yes.
Can people get a license at the state park?
Yes, at the front desk we sell license for fishing. Anybody who's 15 and older needs a license.
How many fish can you catch at one time?
It depends on the species. For trout, there's a limit. There's trout is basically the only one that's limited. But
do people who stay at the state park fish and catch the fish and eat the fish?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so people do that. Yeah. It's not just catch and release.
No. We last year we had what they called the Gold Rush, which is one weekend they stocked only gold trout, and so they're getting ready to do that again this year. And normally that's done in spring break, in the school system, when spring break is. And that is done throughout the state, but Cacapon is one of those sites.
What is special about gold trout?
They were actually produced, the first golden trout was produced in Petersburg, West Virginia. So it is I guess a cousin of the rainbow trout.
So does it taste any different or just looks different?
Looks different. It is truly gold with almost like a red ribbon down the center.
Okay, tell us why you put speed bumps in.
The
Because it's controversial. We go to the park a lot,
Right.
and a lot of people don't like the speed bumps. And we're glad that now that it's winter, they're out.
Well, I mean, I have to drive over the speed bumps. We had an issue with speeding and blowing stop signs. So I had a choice. I could either write tickets or I could have people comply.
Why didn't you write tickets?
Well,
Because a lot of people that I talk to would have preferred tickets.
but there's a safety factor. I can't be everywhere at once. If I was to write tickets, I'd be sitting there every day.
But you think it's a real safety issue. Mm-hmm. Have you noticed a change?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it forces people to comply. So, I mean, I would rather have people comply than write a ticket.
Okay, now you took them out.
November 1st, because and that was
That's winter.
Yeah,
Because the snow plows would destroy them.
correct.
Is that the idea?
Yeah.
It's great driving in there without speed bumps.
My wife says the same thing.
Okay, how big is the park? How big is it?
It's over 6,400 acres.
And does it go over the mountain to the other side towards Pop?
Yes, there is a track. Yeah, that goes towards Great Cacapon.
Can people get over there?
From our side,
Yeah.
if they go up to the overlook, there's the fire trail that goes out, and they can actually go over. But coming in from Great Cacapon, you would have to go through private property.
Right. So there's no way to get over the mountain to Great Cacapon without cutting through private property.
Correct.
And because I heard when the Civilian Conservation Corps was building, I don't know if you know anything about this, but I heard that when they were building the state park, that people used to actually walk over the mountain, help build the park for a week, stay at the park, and then walk back home. So is there any idea that the park can be expanded somehow? Is there any thought to expanding the park?
At this point in time, no, we haven't had any opportunity. I mean, I've been in other parks where they've bought property that have come up for sale. It's not out of the question, but at this point in time, we don't have, any plans to do that.
How many visitors per year?
Over 500,000.
To Cacapon?
Mm-hmm.
500,000 people. Mm-hmm. And is it primarily driven by advertising? And I know that the West Virginia Tourism Department has advertising in the big cities, in Pittsburgh, Baltimore, DC.
A lot of it's word of mouth. I mean, most people, a lot of people don't realize it's there, but once they get there, they always come back and they tell other people. So word of mouth is one of our biggest advertisers.
Of the 500,000, how many come from in-state? How many? Can you break it down in terms of local,
About
in-state?
85% is out of state.
And then of the 15%, is it local or just from around West Virginia? Do you have a sense?
I would say of the 15%, at least a 50-50 mix.
What are some? Who do you answer to? Do you answer to Charleston, to DNR in Charleston? Who's your boss?
My boss is Paul Refford. He's the district administrator of parks. And then from there is the chief of parks.
What are the issues you have to deal with?
Our responsibility as superintendents is everything from the safety to the budget to the hiring to just the overall management of a recreational facility.
And what's your staff like? How many staff do you have?
Cacapon, we have about 115 during the summer, which is peak. Berkeley Springs is about 45 during the summer.
And what's the budget at each?
Between the two, you know, probably about $3 million.
And is it going to increase with the new lodge? Will the budget increase?
Yes, it has to. It has to. At this point in time, we're still working through that. We're working through pricing, we're working through staffing and all that. So everything will increase, but I can't say how much at this time.
If people want to eat at the state park, where do they go? What are the restaurants that are available?
We have our main restaurant in the lodge, which is open 365 days a year. We also have a snack bar at the golf course, and it'll serve sandwiches to, you know, omelets, you know, and that's open during April through October. And then you also have the snack bar down at the beach, which is open Memorial Day to Labor Day.
What is geocaching? I've never heard of it.
Yeah, actually, it's throughout the park system. And geocaching is where somebody takes a container and they'll put something in there. And sometimes it's a patch, it's, you know, a trinket or whatever. And a lot of times they'll have like a log. And so you'll have a piece of paper there. And so you use
GPS?
GPS, yeah, type thing to find the cache. And then the idea behind it is to, you know, you take something and you put something in.
So it's like treasure hunting?
Yeah, it's like a modern day treasure hunt.
And do you hide the stuff?
No,
Who hides it?
the person that maintains it. We will get a request. They have to fill out a form. We get a request, and either Kelly or I will approve it.
And so is this mostly young people doing this?
No, it's all ages.
There's a horse riding stable.
Yes,
You have to pay for that?
yes, that is concessioned out.
And, that's a contractor who does that.
Yes,
And is it their horses or your horses?
it's their horses. Richie Cox runs the horse stables, Triple C, and their main season is Memorial Day to Labor Day, but they have the off season, which is April through October. They're there on the weekends, but it's a guided horse riding.
And how much does it cost?
Varies on what you want to do. I mean, they have everything from half an hour to they can do picnics to, you know, hour rides, whatever you want to do.
Have you lived in state parks your whole life?
Not my whole life.
Because your dad was in the state park system.
Right.
So did you live in state parks when you were young?
No, he was in administration.
Okay.
Yeah, he started off as the chief naturalist of state parks and then worked his way up from there.
But you are, by the way, because you have a naturalist at Cacapon, right?
Correct.
What does a naturalist do?
Naturalists, or we call them programmers, are responsible for a lot of the recreation that goes on the park, the special programs. One of the ones we have coming up is we have Christmas at the Old Inn. So we're going to have the community band down there doing Christmas carols. Santa will be there, cookies, hot chocolate, you know, and we have stuff coming, and stuff like the New Year's Eve package coming up. But from that to the everyday activities, whether it's a bird hike, you know, or playing softball or something like that, they're responsible for the special programs and the daily recreation.
What's it like? But you spent a big part of your life living in state parks.
Around state parks.
Around state parks.
Yeah.
But now you live in the state park.
Correct.
What's it like? And you have a family.
Correct.
What's it like living in a state park and raising a family in a state park? Give me like pluses and minuses.
Pluses. I mean, no commute.
You're right there.
I'm right there.
And you're out in the country. It's gorgeous.
Oh yeah, yeah. No neighbors, you know.
Except for golfers.
Golfers, yeah, deer.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, but you're on call 24/7.
Right.
I mean, but I knew that going in. It's the pluses, I mean, it's like a family there. I mean, you literally, to me, state parks, no matter where I'm at, that park is my family. And it's a great place to raise your family. You know, my family has got to do a lot of stuff that most families don't. You know, whether it's bottle feed a bear cub and, you know, work it up and actually tattoo it and, you know, do all the stuff to you know, we were at Cass and the engineers would pull up and go, come on, let's go for a ride. They just grab her, off she go.
So it's like an extended family.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're thought very highly of in the West Virginia State Park system. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us. And you know, the purpose of this is to get people to go to, young people especially, to learn about state parks. And we'll be sending this out through our network to make sure they know about it. And hope to talk to you again soon.
Cool.
Thank you for joining
All
us.
right. Thank you.
And thank you for watching This Week in Morgan County.